On January 1st, 2023, Jacob Infante tweeted, "Well, that game sucked. Time to jack off." This is the Museum of Twitter, the show we talk about the most important tweets in the history of Twitter.com. It's a special combination Sports Tweet Saturday and Subscriber Saturday. Because I'm doing a specific tweet for Mother's Day tomorrow, I decided to combine Sports Tweet Saturday and Subscriber Sunday, so my subscribers picked a sports tweet. And they picked this one. And it really gets to the point, doesn't it? Jacob watched a game that he didn't enjoy, and then he decided, you know what, I'm going to do something I do enjoy. And he said it matter-of-factly. So what game was he talking about? He was talking about when the Chicago Bears lost to the Detroit Lions 10-41 on New Year's Day 2023. He actually talked a little bit about it in an interview he had with Steffi Smalls.
Nothing went right in that game. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try something here. I to this day, I don't know what inspired it because I never do tweet anything like that.
Yeah.
Never have. But I was like, screw it. Let's just go with it.
Now, what he doesn't say in that interview is whether or not he actually went through with it. Like, whether that was actually what he did next. Now, I don't actually want to know the answer to that question. I'm being facetious. And my hunch is that he was actually just doing it for a joke, because as Greg Thompson pointed out in the replies, he tweeted again 4 minutes later. He said, "Anybody do anything fun lately?" Now, Greg implies that this meant that it only took him 4 minutes to yank his chain, which maybe it did. And that makes his next tweet much funnier. Like, just imagine going to do that and then being like, "Anybody do anything fun lately?" Thinking to yourself, well, I know what fun I just had. But as you can imagine, a phrase I use all the time on this show, people have used this tweet as a way of expressing themselves as well. Like, people love to echo the sentiment. Sometimes people just tweet it exactly themselves, like Justin MLB and Korn. Jenna said it about a Bills loss last December. I'm assuming it was a Bills loss because her @ is cooked by Shakir and she has a buffalo in her display name. People use a screenshot of it to react to losses, like Mr. Mitch did with a Maple Leafs loss to the Senators a few weeks ago. The Not Another Sox podcast used it to react to an early season Red Sox loss. And I Despise Mike says that this was him after every Patriots loss in the 2023 season. And in a quote that somehow makes it more crass and gross, Trevor says, "Me going from the Lions game to the Dua Lipa special on CBS." Which, yes, she's a beautiful woman, but come on. It's also been quoted in the context of politics, particularly during last year's election. Like, JL Super Bowl champion quoted it and said, "Lifelong Democrat reacting to the debate like this." And Don Grizzle, PhD, after the election said, "Well, that election sucked, time to check off." And that definitely wasn't my reaction. My reaction was mostly, can I just sleep and then not wake up for a while? But we all react to bad news differently. One of my favorite phenomenons is the way that people will edit this tweet to mean different things. Sometimes it's simple as what Giannis Antetokounmpo did, which is, well, that series sucks, time to check off. Because they were referring to how the New York Mets beat the San Diego Padres in a sweep in the playoffs last year, which of course they did, #LGM. But sometimes people want the meaning to be the exact opposite. Jordan, after watching the Inter Milan-Barcelona match, said, "Well, that game ruled, time to check off." And oftentimes people change the thing that they're going to do to something else. Like Ferg Turgeson reacted to a bad Milwaukee Bucks loss with, "Well, this game sucked, time to wash the car." And then he followed up by showing a photo of his car washed. And this is really impressive, because the absolute last thing I want to do after watching a bad sports loss is a chore. Like, I'm bad at doing chores normally, but when I'm in a bad mood because of sports, I definitely don't want to do chores. So really impressive work, Ferg. And after what I presume is a Mariners loss, given that he's at Raise the Trident, Jake said, "Well, that game sucked. Time to watch YouTube videos about supermassive black holes and be overcome with existential dread to the point where I'm a husk of my former self, feeling like the smallest of ants in the infinite expanse of the cosmos." And I think we all can relate to that, although when I look up supermassive black hole on YouTube, I mostly just watch the baseball scene from Twilight. And in one that's very relevant now, Mike Vigil says, "Well, that game sucked. Time to watch Conclave." As far as I can tell, the game he was tweeting about has nothing to do with Conclave. I think he probably just put off watching Conclave for a bit. It's like, you know what? This is a good time to watch Conclave. And it really always is a good time to watch Conclave. I know a lot of people are going to say that this tweet is too crass, that's too much information, we don't need to know it. And I definitely agree with you on that last part. We don't need to know it. But to be completely honest with you, I think that is like the dumbest criticism of a tweet or any sort of social media ever. Because we don't need to know any of this. That's not to say I think that you should have tweeted this. But I just hate when people are like, "Oh, we don't need to know that." Like, yeah, you don't need to know anything that anyone says on the internet. And my opinion is, he's allowed to say this because he is a Chicago Bears fan, and that has got to be a miserable existence. I can say this because I am a New York Jets fan, and it is a miserable existence. But a stat that I saw on Thursday was that the city of Chicago got a pope before the Chicago Bears got a 4,000-yard passer. I think that stats like that should give you carte blanche to make yourself happy basically any way you can that doesn't harm other people. I just think that you should have more leeway with what is acceptable behavior if you're someone who is forced to watch Caleb Haney start at quarterback in important games. It's only fair. Folks, I'm doing a live stream next Saturday to raise money for a charity that helps LGBTQ youth in Central Florida, but I have a fun donation gimmick that requires people to donate beforehand. So please, if you're able to help at all, and I really hope you are, check out the link in my bio to the Google Doc that has all the information.